Hi, welcome back. We're now going to cover the tutorial sheets BP2D07 and BP2D08. Both of these are fairly complex in a way. First one's going to look at the glazing on the building, which is one of the key features of the building, and the second is the partitions and doors that we'll find in this area. Okay, so we're going to do the work in this area. There's too many windows to draw all this in a tutorial. It would be here too long. So the bulk of the windows here will be inserted in a similar way that we did with the walls at this end of the building. So let's zoom in closer at this part of the building. Nice and close so we can see in detail. So we're going to be working in this area first. So we'll change layers, change your current layer from column stainless steel to window frame vertical, so 2D window frame vertical. Okay, and we'll start off by drawing a line from this endpoint across to perpendicular. So let's check that we've got those object snaps available. So if I right click my object snaps button, I've got endpoint, I've got node there available at the moment, that'll be useful later. Intersection, perpendicular. I'm also going to add midpoint, so I've got quite a few active now. Okay, so we start off with a line, so it's L, return from endpoint to perpendicular and return. And then we'll draw a line vertically from that. This will help us establish lines side to side. So another line, so L return, this time from midpoint, and the length of the lines is immaterial. It must be straight up though, so with ortho on I'll get a straight up vertical line. So this distance would do. It looks about 2400 looking at the gauge next to my cursor. Okay, press return to finish. So let's set up the horizontal lines first. Okay, so offset and return, and we're 500 away from our baseline. Then the width of the window panels in general is 100 millimeters. So you press return twice, change the distance to 100 and return. Take this line up and click again. Then there's a thin gap. We've got a sliding door in behind the main window here. So there's a thin gap of 25 millimeters. So return twice, change the distance to 25 and return. And then the door itself is only 50 millimeters wide. So return twice, change the offset distance to 50. Okay, that's as far as we need to go just now. What we'll need to do now is set up the vertical lines. Okay, if you return twice, let's start off with 50 millimeters. Return twice, 1800. Return twice, 100. Okay, then press escape. So if we carry on, we'll end up with too many lines. So we're just dealing with what's happening down here in this area. Okay, so we want to end up with a rectangle here and a square here and a square here. So let's use the trim command here. TR return, and I'm basically going to pick all the lines that I've just placed in this area. Okay, I'll leave this one intact. Okay, press return, and now we'll chop away, and we should be left with a square at this side and part of the shape on this side. Okay, bear in mind this is all symmetrical. We don't need to work on what's happening over this side. What I will do though is offset this line 50 millimeters this way to end up with a square here. So O return, 50 return, take this line to the side, return, and then using trim again, it was a bit slow there, TR, return, try again, TR, return, pick these 3 lines as cutters and return, and chop away all of these. So I've just got 2 squares left. Okay, so that's the 2 main vertical portions of framing for this bit of glazing. Okay, let's put the door in this time. Okay, we'll bring this line out the way by 500. 500, return. Then 100, so return twice, change it to 100. Return twice, offset by 1800. Return twice, 100. Okay, then it's trimming again. Let's pick everything we've got there. 4 lines here and another 2 lines here. Return. You can do multiple trims now. Try it again at below. Try again on the side. Try again on this side. And finally in the middle. Okay, so we've got the shapes. Some of these lines are on the wrong layer, so we'll just deal with that just now. So I'm just going to pick everything here and change it. Do you notice this is greyed out? There's no layer name visible here. It's because this is a combination of 2 layer names. It doesn't know which one to show, so it doesn't show any. So these want to go onto 2D window frame vert. And escape. Okay, now we can draw the lines that join these. So let's put the glass in first. So change to layer 2D window glaze trans, and we want the line from midpoint to midpoint, or midpoint to perpendicular as it showed there. Same here, midpoint to midpoint or perpendicular. Okay, so that's the shape of what's getting cut through framing and glass. But you'd also see lines down on the ground, so lighter lines down at the base. And we're using a layer called 2D window frame horizontal for that. And it's line again from endpoint to endpoint, return, return to bring back the command, endpoint to endpoint, or perpendicular. Do the same here. And that's one side of our glazing complete. All we need to do now is flip this over. We'll just add another line before we do that. Let's just indicate that this is a kind of a sliding door, so we'll just indicate a dashed line going across. And that is on layer door swing. Even though it's not swinging, it's sliding, we would use this layer. So it's a line from endpoint to perpendicular. Okay. Now we can mirror these objects across to the other side. MI, return, grab everything here but not the square in the middle, otherwise we'd end up with 2 squares, one on top of the other. Okay, I've got 19 objects, there's quite a lot of lines here, there's 4 in each of these, plus 3, plus the last one. Okay, press return, because you've got all the objects you want to mirror, and then you determine your mirror line, which could be from midpoint or end point, just using any position on this line. Drag upwards, click the top of the line. The command is asking me if I want to delete the originals, i.e. flip instead of mirror. I don't want to lose the originals, so I enter no to that question. Okay, this line's done its job. We won't need this again, so we can delete that. But we will use this one again for sheet 08. Okay, well, let's copy a window from here up into this position. Okay, so let's take these objects. So a controlled copy. CP, return. Use a blue selection window so you don't pick up too much. So I'll start my selection here, and I'll just try and go in between these two objects, but coming far enough to the right to take the middle square. Okay, it's found 11 objects. Quick mental arithmetic: 4 plus 4 plus 3 is 11. That's correct. If you ended up with more objects there, then you should be, more careful in your drawing and make sure you don't end up with superfluous lines. Okay, press enter because we don't want to copy anything else. The base point is this point, and the destination point I'm going to choose here. It looks like it's going to place it straight up, but the object snaps will overrule the ortho setting. Okay, press enter because we've finished, and we now want to stretch this from here across to here, and this way we won't have to do any more editing, just a single command is stretch. Okay, so this is different to using the grips. This is a much more powerful option. So the command shortens to the letter S, so it's S and return. Then you must select the objects. We're trying to control the position of vertices, so we've got to capture the vertices inside a crossing window, and it tells me this here, it's reminding me. So a crossing window is the green window. So I pick here and here. Okay, we can't add any more objects, so just press enter. The base point is on the window and the destination point perpendicular to this wall. Okay, now these yellow objects are newer than the pink ones, so you can see that the yellow line is showing on top of the pink line. Now in graphical terms that's going to be weak. The yellow should either not be there or it should be behind the pink. I would be wise, I would play safe and delete this yellow line. The wall is the more important line, not the window frame. Okay, so when we print this out, it will look like the windows are between the walls, not on top of them. That's very important. Okay, now that takes us to a position where we can bring in the other windows, and we'll do this by inserting them like we did with the walls over here. So the command for insert is just the letter I and return. I'll need to browse outside the folder to find this, and I've gone and put it somewhere. I'll just drag it into position. Okay, we want glazed areas. Okay, so you'll be looking for a file called BP glazed areas. Okay, we can see it's got the bits we need there. Click open. I don't need to specify the insertion point because it's at 0, 0. I've set this up specifically for you. Okay, so take all the ticks off and click OK. Okay, so the other objects have arrived in the right place. It would have taken us just too long to work through all these positions. Okay, we'll need to explode that, otherwise it's all stuck together in one lump. So use the X command and return. Pick the objects and return. Now the doors on the main doors in the building are quite a complicated affair. They have an offset hinge. Okay, so the door swing does look a bit more complicated than a standard door. I'll not make you try to draw this. We'll draw a more simple door in this area. Okay, so we're moving on to sheet BP 2D08 now, and we firstly want to set the layer to 2D partition. Okay, and then zoom in back in this area, and we'll just put in some simple divisions. Okay, we've got some sizes set on the drawing. Okay, so we're offset, so it's O, return, 2500, return, bring this line down, return twice, change the offset to 100, return, take the line, go down again. Okay, now we'll deal with this one. So we're taking the yellow line outside each way by 50 millimeters. So return twice, change the offset distance to 50 and return. Take the yellow to the left, go back to the original line, take it to the right. Okay, the line in the middle has done its job, it can now be deleted. So we need to extend things here, nothing's touching the walls properly. So let's use grips. Let's use the extend command, we haven't used that so far. So it shortens to EX and return. Pick the wall as the barrier and return, and then select near the end of the line you want to extend. Return to finish, return to bring back the command. Pick two barriers this time and return, and then go and pick the ends that need extending. Okay, that's shaped up pretty quick. We've got a very small gap here just to clear the wall, so we'll offset the window frame up the way by 25. So O, return, 25, return. Take this line up and pick again. Now let's use fillet to tidy this up. That's the slicker command. So F, return, pick, pick, return, pick, pick. While we're close up, let's put these on the correct layer so we don't leave anything behind. So pick these three lines and then change them onto 2D partition. Escape to get rid of the grips. These two lines are on the wrong layer as well. Try and match properties, we haven't used that for a while. Pick a line you want to mimic and then the line for the target. Okay, the last job with the partitions is to create an opening for the doorway, which is 1000 millimeters wide. So O, return, 1000, return, take the upper horizontal line, go up again, and select. Escape to finish the command. Let's use the grips here. Click a line, click the grip, and then go perpendicular. Do the same here. Click the line, click the grip, go perpendicular. So we've got everything we need to form the shape. It's just looking a bit untidy. So a bit of trimming would probably be helpful here, but we could also introduce another command. I can show you the break command. This will let me carve a gap in a line. It's a bit rough and ready, but it works quite well. So break, BR, return, pick this position to start with, but this end point or perpendicular to finish. Okay, return, give that another go, pick, and then a definite end point. So this has been tidied up very accurately. This is still looking a bit loose. Try grips if you want. So if it's just moving things horizontally or vertically, grips are very easy to work with. When you've got multiple objects or things are moving at a different angle, they don't work so well. Okay, so that's the partitions created and the gap for the doorway. We just need to make the actual door now. So a very simple, kind of standard architectural door. So let's get in close so we can see what we're doing. And firstly we'll start with the 2D door frame layer, and because these objects are quite small, I'm going to draw them as polylines so the small bits of line stick together. So we haven't drawn a polyline so far. So poly just means multiple, so it's a line that's got multiple segments. You can either get the icon here or you can type in PL and return. Let's start here. Got ortho on, I'm going to go up 50 to to the right 100, and then back down perpendicular. Return to finish. Do the same at the other side of the door. Return to bring back your command, start, go down 50, to the right 100, back up to the end point. Return to finish. Okay, I now need to put in the door leaf inside the frame. So I use a rectangle. We haven't used this command yet either. So the command shortens to rec, it's REC, return. I'm going to start the rectangle at this corner. If it keeps offering you a perpendicular position, then resist using that. Tap your tab key until the endpoint icon shows up. So go from endpoint to midpoint. Okay, so we've kind of indicated the door in a closed situation. We want the door to be open. So we can rotate it now. So the door is exactly the right size, it just wants to be shown open. So we use the rotate command, RO, return. Pick the door leaf and return. The rotation point wants to be where the hinges would be on the door. So it's the corner of the rectangle where we started, and the angle, because we're going clockwise, that's minus in mathematical terms, so that's minus 90. Return. So graphically, that's really all you need to show. You don't need a heck of a lot of detail for a door. What we're missing though is what's called a door swing, and this just indicates a path on the ground that you shouldn't really stand in. If you did, you'll get hit by the door. So we can change layers now to 2D door swing. Now, I made a small error there. I've drawn the door leaf on the door frame layer, so I just need to change that back onto the door leaf layer. They're the same color, so it wouldn't, graphically and printout wise, it wouldn't make a difference, but I'm wanting to, lead by example. Okay, so we've got 2D door swing layer. Just make sure that is on the leaf. Good, yeah. 2D door swing. So what we're going to draw here is an arc segment. Okay, there's lots of different ways you can draw arcs, and I will use the icon for this one. I don't use it for many commands, but this one's got so many options, it's an easier way to work. Okay, it can be a bit of a frustrating command though, because it quite often wants to draw the arc in the opposite direction that you want. So, a bit of practice is required with this. So let's go for center, start, end. We've got all these positions on our door. So center, start, end. Okay, so the center would be where the hinges are. The start point of the arc would be at the tip of the door leaf. Okay, and as I drag, you can see the arc coming out. If I didn't have ortho on, it would look a bit more easy to understand. And the end point of the arc is across at the other side of the door frame. Okay, that's showing with very few dashes there. My line type scale must be set quite big. So I'll look at that. LTS, return. It's set at 50. Okay, let's put it back. Let's paint it to a bit smaller than that. Let's say 35. And you see that it gives you more dashes. Okay, that's the door finished. That takes us to the end of sheet BP 2D08.